Google Educator Group of South Texas. GEG-SOUTX.US. Hello and welcome, everybody. It's time for another meeting for the Google Educator Group of South Texas. And I'm gonna start with Tammy. Tammy, I'm not sure if you want to introduce yourself. Julie, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hey everybody, Julie Kelly. I've been a certified trainer for a couple of years, Weslaco ISD, and I'm instructional technology strategist for Weslaco ISD. Greetings.
Awesome.
Thank you. Tammy?
Okay. We're supposed to introduce ourselves, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. My name is Tammy, and I'm in Kentucky. And I just like to listen to some of these GEG meets. I have my level 1, and I just love listening to all the new stuff you all talk about. So I'm probably in the wrong group and probably don't need to be here, but I'm kind of intrigued by you all still wanting to learn and go back to school, because I want to do that, but I'm on the backside of retiring, so I'm not going to be doing that. So anyway.
Hey, you're awesome.
Yeah, never too late to learn. Always keep learning.
I know. There's always Google. There's so much more to learn every day.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you.
Thank you so much for being here.
Glad you're here.
Ryan?
Hello, Ryan Sanchez. I'm in San Antonio, Texas. I work for a school district. I'm a systems administrator. Manage our servers and our Google domain. I've been tasked with creating our connections with roster files through Clever and online resources. And I wanted to join this group so I can learn more, like Tammy, about what's coming up and what exactly teachers are looking at and utilizing to help me get ready for the request to get it implemented, and also maybe even start suggesting things myself to our district. So thanks for having me.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining. And
I'm
Mel?
so excited. We have another San Antonian in the house.
Yes. Region 20, right?
That's right. That's right.
Mel?
Yep, that's my service center as well, Region 20.
Yay.
Sorry, what are we doing?
Introduction. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Well, I guess so. So you guys know that I am not in Texas, so I'm the fake GEG-South Texas person. But I'm not that far from there, okay? I live in Cali, Colombia, so in South America. So I'm Australian. Well, for those that know me, I mean, you know me already. I teach maths down here at an international school, like usually grades 7 through 12. This year I've just got 9 and 11. And yeah, that's me, I think.
Thank you so much.
Glad you're here, Mel.
And welcome back. It's awesome to have you here every time that we're here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Kathy?
So my name is Kathy Hurlbert. I am from San Antonio as well. I am an instructional technology specialist and here in San Antonio, and support several elementary campuses developing teachers and their skills and innovating instruction.
Thank you so much for introducing yourself. And you are also share captain for our Google Educator group. That's awesome.
Yay. Yes.
Amy, would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm sorry, I'm here with my little one. My name is Amy Marquez. I'm a librarian. I work in PSJA at high school. I'm a Google certified trainer, and I love tech. So this past year was a lot of fun. Just getting to be more hands-on with the teachers and working more in training them and providing that kind of support for them.
Awesome. Okay, so Amy, you're probably going to be doing the next meeting. as a Google
Sounds
trainer.
good. Let me know.
Yay.
Okay, we have our next victim. Okay, so today I will be presenting. I go by Mr. G, and I am a teacher, Google for Education certified trainer, and innovator via 20. Recently, I did my final showcase for my project, which is a Chrome extension to help students in need read better Google Forms specifically. Google Classroom has now those new bold and italicized features, which Google Forms still does not. So that was my goal originally. It was for Google Classroom, but they came out with it, but Google Forms still needs it. Thank you. Yes, you should. This year is only for Asia and other regions, but yes, even if it's in that region, you can still apply. Okay. So today we're going to look into updates for Google. Now, let me present here. Wonder if I can do captions. Let me start presenting. Here it is. Okay. I'm going to show you an old one, but a good one, which is captions for Google Slides. And at the bottom left, there's going to be this, what I call the shish kebab. And then there's caption preferences. And I can turn on captions as long as I allow the microphone. And that was a feature that long time ago we got, but just in case you need this. I know that I need captions whenever I'm watching a movie. And I'm sure students also need captions. Yes, I use most of my my menu items are actually food menu items, like the waffle and the burger. All right, so Google Workspace updates. And I have a bunch of GIFs because I should have left it at the previous one. I'll leave it on this one. So I have a bunch of GIFs, and I'm just going to talk from the actual GIFs themselves. So we're going to start with Chrome. Okay. So with Chrome, the Chromebook itself, you can zoom in using the, let me see, I'm using a Chromebook right now. It's Control, Search, and M. There we go. It does zoom in. That's awesome. So Control, Search, the search key, or in depending on the Chromebook is the one with the circle, and the M key, and that allows you to zoom in and out of the Chromebook. Again, this is more for assistive help for those that need to zoom in. Sometimes I need that. This is something that I'm using already for my daughter, that instead of her typing her password, because she's in kinder, she has her own Chromebook. Well, she shares her Chromebook here at home with her sister, and both of them have this pin instead of remembering the password. It's easier for them to remember six numbers instead of remembering the whole password. And I also use something called, as a parent, I use the family link, and that helps me manage their times if I link their personal account with their school account. So if I want to make sure that they go to sleep at a certain time, I just turn off access to their Chromebooks at that time. Next thing we're going to look into is Google Classroom. Now, there's several things that are here, so I'm going to try to go a little bit fast, but we can talk about them. If you have any questions, just let me know. A lot of these features are going to be for paid members. If you remember, the structure for the Google for Education workspace changed. Some of them are paid features, and some of them are already available. Some of them are coming soon. In this example, in Google Classroom, the way it's going to look, it's going to change just a little bit, where Google Meet is going to be available on the side instead of that link that was in the middle of the header. And there's going to be other changes to the site as well coming soon. On this one, if you are using Clever, this is another one that is coming soon. And I believe this is only for the paid version of Workspace, that you can link Clever so that it can import the roster into Google Classroom automatically. I know that some of you all use, what is it called? Little Sis to help you with that transfer. But Clever, if you use Clever, then Clever is going to help you with that on the paid version. Okay, so this one is referring to add-ons that you're going to have available in Google Classroom. So the assignments, now you can have add-ons, and instead of having those link outside of the classroom, they can do it within the classroom as an add-on. So there's an example of somebody adding an add-on, and then looks like it's a crossword puzzle. This one is more on the mobile side. This is going to be available on mobile devices so that students who do not have internet, they can save everything on the phone. Then when they can continue working on the mobile device, it doesn't have to be the phone, it could be a tablet. So they can work offline, and then when they have internet access again, everything is going to be synchronized. Now, this is something that we needed desperately in our school district, because we had a lot of rural areas where there was just no signal whatsoever, even though we provided hotspots. This is the one that everybody has been asking for, which is to schedule different classes, an assignment to different classes. Recently, if you have tried, or previously, if you have tried to schedule an assignment to multiple classes, that was not possible. You had to schedule, save it somehow, go a different way. That is a good question. It's not available yet, so I haven't tried it. So I am limited on that knowledge, but as soon as it comes out, I will definitely start using it. And I believe as Google trainers, we might have access to that somehow. I need to look more into it. Okay, this one, right now it's very limited on what is available as far as for you to see in Google Classroom what your students are doing. And there's going to be this new tab called the Activity tab, and it's going to show you what students are doing and where they are, or if they have logged in. Okay, so looking at what's coming up with Google Meet, and as you can see, Google Meet looks different already. So here are some of the nice things, and I think he left, but let's see here. Yeah, I think he left. But for the Google admins, and this one is loading, but for the Google admins, this is something that is going to be, I'll come back to this one because it's still loading. Okay, another one for admins, you can change the safety settings throughout. It does not have to be individually. So if you change the quick access, for example, you want to turn off quick access and you want to turn off chat, you can do that across the whole domain or individual organizational units. Let me see if it loaded already. There it goes. Okay, so this is the one I was talking about. Another thing that you can do with admins. Sometimes as a teacher, I get logged off because the internet is down. And if my students are online, then I will not be able to end that meeting. So Google admins can go in and end those meetings that are still going on. And this is from the admin console. Continuing on Google admins, you can select who is allowed to join. So in this example is only those that have a workspace account. That, or you can limit it to only within the domain. Breakout rooms. Whatever settings you have in the breakout rooms, in the main room, you're going to be able to have in the breakout rooms. And breakout rooms are a paid feature in Google Workspace. The next one is closed captions now has more languages. And this is we're still in Google Meet. But let's see, is this next? Okay, let me move this one up. Okay, speaking of closed captions, not only can you have more languages, but you can also translate closed captions into different languages. So think about meeting with parents and you want to make sure you understand what the parent is saying or that the parent can understand you. Closed captions with auto translate. This one also shows that whenever you're doing, what is this one called? Streaming. Whenever you do the stream, you will also be able to add captions with different languages and translate those languages as well. Okay. Yes, that's true. Breaking down the language barrier. This one is showing the raising of hands. Now you can see how the hands are raised. Those are the ones on top. So if your students are raising their hands and you want to see who is raising their hands, those are going to be shown first. and then you can address the students' questions from there. Here's a good one. Now you can have, I'm not sure if this is available already, so let me try to see if I can do this. No, I still can't. But you will be able to have a co-host, so you don't have to be managing the Google Meet by yourself. Eventually, you'll be able to add co-hosts. I cannot do it on this meeting, so I'm not sure if this is a paid feature or has not rolled out yet. All right, pinning. So right now, for example, I have my presentation, and if somebody is watching live that is not on the Google Meet, then you'll see that I'm removing the pin, and then I can see everybody here. I can add the pin again, and it's back to the presentation itself. So same thing, as you can see, as you know what you're presenting. You want to see your students in this case, or for those of you that are trainers, you want to see the teachers and if they have any questions and their expressions. So you can unpin the presentation. Also, you will be able to pin multiple people. Let's see if I can pin somebody else. Can I pin 2 people at a time? So not yet. All right. So this is something that is coming up. I don't have it available on my end yet. Here's another one on mobile device, specifically Google Meet. You will be able to do more things on Google Meet that you weren't able to do before. So on mobile, it was very limited what you could do. You pretty much had to be on a laptop or computer to be able to manage all the settings. You should have, with the new updates, be able to manage different settings. Next thing is different workspace related updates, starting with Google Docs. So right here, you're going to see how by starting with the add symbol, you start with a template and you can add files. And that's one of the things that I did. I added a file to the meeting agenda, and you should have access to this. You should have different types of tables. In this example, there's the thumbs up. There's this new feature, which is the check boxes. So you can also add check boxes to your Google Docs. I know check boxes work already, and several of those features work. Now, as you're starting to type, yes, I really like it. It's very easy to use and makes things a lot easier. One thing that I've noticed that sometimes somebody's typing a name and it wants you to autofill that name. If you do autofill that name, however, and you share it publicly, then you're pretty much sharing their contact information. So you may want to be careful with that. So whenever you're tagging people, you're tagging their email. So if you're tagging people using their school email, you'll be sharing their school email. If you do the add symbol and you're trying to look for the file that you want to share and you cannot find it, just copy the URL to that file, paste it, and it should give you the same thing as if you type the add symbol. Assistive, smart, what is it called? Smart autofill, smart, I forgot the term. It's something along the lines. Gmail had it already, where you start typing something and then it automatically tells you what to type next. But whenever you're typing something, it gives suggestions as to smart suggestions. I don't remember. It gives you suggestions as to what you can type next. So you start typing a sentence and it finishes it for you. I was doing my research for my master's degree, and as I was typing, Google Docs was automatically typing the rest of the sentence for me. So I would just have to press either tab or enter. I think it was tab, and it would fill it out for me. I didn't have to type that much. So whatever I was starting to type, Google did it for me. In this example, it's telling you that based on the language you are using, maybe you want to change it so that it's more inclusive. Okay, same thing. Google Sheets is also getting smarter. Whenever you forget to type that dollar symbol, to make sure that it stays the same, especially, for example, whenever you drag down, you need the letter, then the dollar symbol, and then the number. Or whenever you're going to drag to the right, the number symbol, the letter, and then the number. Google Sheets is going to start doing that automatically for you. It's telling you there was an error. Is this what you meant? Yes or no. And this one, I'm sure you already saw this one, that Google Forms is now saving your progress. So if by chance something happens that it logs you off or it shuts down and you need to log back in again, it saves the progress and you can continue later. And this was a problem before, especially when students were taking a test. But now that is available, so they can continue later in case the internet goes out. So settings is moving now. It's moving from, what was it, a puzzle? I think it was a puzzle piece or a gear icon. No, puzzle piece was for the add-ons. The gear icon. So it's moving from the gear icon to a tab. So now you're going to have your questions, your responses, and settings. That way it's easier to find. Font. So I thought this was going to change my project. When I saw this update, I thought my project is useless. Now what am I going to do for my innovator project? But it turns out that it is whatever you select, the whole thing will be the same. So my project is still relevant for Google Forms, because whatever you select, that's the theme for the whole Google form. And you cannot change individual words yet. So this update just says that you can add different types of fonts. And it's time to start sharing questions, comments, ideas, something that I did not cover. So instead of what is it called? Instead of that gear icon, it's now a tab, so it makes it much easier to find.
Hey, Carlos, I have a question.
Yes.
I just recorded a 30-minute session today on Google Meet, and I talked about the captions and, you know, how if you select English, it'll record in English. And if you, I didn't realize the translate was happening. Is that rolled out already? Or, you know, can you talk about that a little bit more?
To the best of my understanding, is not available yet.
Okay.
But let's see. Captions have been turned on to English.
So if
And
you speak English, it'll record English. And if you speak French, it'll record French. But so in my when I was recording myself, I didn't say that it would translate. And you mentioned that. Is that something coming down?
yes, later on. And
Okay.
it's going to be one of the things that I did not mention, though, is that streaming not only is going to be within the school, you can also make it public. And
Yeah.
that's going to stream on YouTube. So eventually streaming will be available on YouTube as well from
Okay.
Google
Thanks.
Meet. So as far as translate, it's not available yet, but eventually.
So my recording today is up to date. I'm
Yes.
not behind.
Yes, you're good. This is things that either are available already because they rushed it, or it's coming soon. And I believe streaming is for the paid version of Workspace.
I think so. I love all the updates. It's been fun.
I know. I was playing around with the captions and said as we were working, and I'm selected another language, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's translating his words. So super cool how it breaks down the language barrier.
So I'm wondering if that's a Google admin setting, because I was messing with it today prior to recording and it was not translating. So that's something I'll look into tomorrow when I get back into the office.
Okay. Yeah, I need to look into that. One thing I did notice is on Google Slides, when I was presenting to my students, and I'm going to change here, y empecé a hablar en español, me di cuenta que closed captions, no sé cómo se diga eso en español, lo traducía muy bien en español. Now, I don't know why Google Meet.
It works. It works. I don't hablar, and it translated it for me.
Oh, that's awesome.
Okay.
All right, so you already have it. I don't have it.
Well, we are brand new to the paid version, so maybe they pushed it out early for us. I don't know.
Got it.
That's super awesome though.
And I know our admin he's confessed that he's a little behind with the console, so I'll talk to him.
All right, so it's awesome that it worked. So I don't have it. I guess it's coming later to everybody, but right now priority is paid version, and those that are on what's it called, fast rollout, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Super exciting though.
Yes.
I'm really excited about the add-ons for Google Classroom. Like, I cannot wait to get in there and try it and see what it's all about. I'm really stoked about that.
And to see if the grades actually import afterwards.
Right.
I want to see if that actually works.
Mm-hmm.
Carlos,
Yes.
that will be an awesome thing. Are you saying transporting grades from classroom?
The grades, for example, there's the add-ons can include Kahoot.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And I'm hoping that whatever the grade they get on Kahoot, that it gets imported to Google Classroom. I don't know if it will, but if it does, that would be something that is going to be that would be something awesome. Yes.
Right. In theory, that's what our tech people say. In theory, that should always work. You know, when we're trying to learn new stuff.
Yeah.
It's always like that though, in theory, and then you have to test it out. Like, that's the best way to learn is get in there and try it out.
Yeah. And you went over some awesome things, updates. It's really cool. So thank you. I enjoyed listening and learning from you all.
Awesome.
Yay. Don't dip out yet. We have more.
Okay. So before we move on to the next part, any other comments or anybody has any updates that I probably forgot to mention?
I'm going to mention one in just a minute whenever you're ready.
Okay, then I'll leave it up to you. Take it away.
All right. So I am a new paid account user. So hopefully I'm doing this right. So help me out and tell me when you can see my screen.
It's there.
Okay, yay. All right, so I am a dreamer and I love to be inspired because the wealth of knowledge, like how I learn and grow, is from tapping into the knowledge and learning of other educators. So I'm going to share a couple ideas and then hopefully we can open it up and share some ideas with you guys. We'll share some ideas back. So Carlos is like incredibly smart on the technical side. I'm more of like the application side. Like tools are only as good as the way that we use them. So I just want to share with you some cool ideas and then have you guys share some cool ideas of ways that you've used some of these new things. So I'm sure this one's been out for a little while and I continue to like encounter people that haven't actually like seen it yet. So there's a built-in QR creator in Chrome now, which is super cool. So I'm going to show you one of the ways that I use this, and please stop me if for some reason you don't see what I'm doing. So one of the things, I work in the elementary world, and so one of the things that we do a lot is publishing writing using slides or whatever. So this is an example of a student that used Google Slides to create a research project, and say we want to share this writing now with the public. So when I come up to the little URL address in Chrome, when I click into the address bar, there is now a built-in QR generator, and I can now download this and maybe post this in the hallway or, you know, wherever. So this becomes like a living bulletin board essentially, which I'm super stoked about. So anything, essentially any website that you're accessing in Chrome, you can now generate this QR code for to get students there quickly, or like I said, to, you know, make students work a little bit more accessible on the, you know, in a living bulletin board or wherever. So I use this in just a ton of different ways in my work daily, but I think it's a really cool new feature.
That's awesome.
I know, it's super awesome. I'm like a super learning nerd. So I'm like, oh my gosh, this is really awesome. And then kind of a new, this, again, I live in the elementary world, so this may or may not be like awesome to you guys, but another kind of project that I've been working on is, you know, widening the audience that students' work is in front of. And so one of the things that I've recently been working on is having students publish their writing into a Google site and then embedding that form so they can get feedback on their writing from a wider audience. So I love in Google Sites how we can, you know, publish their slide deck with the, you know, their writing. It's clickable, you can scroll through it, and the feedback form is embedded there. Of course, you know, the sharing permissions need to be open to, you know, outside the domain, but then we can share this, you know, in a variety of ways. So we can kind of broaden the audience that students' work is getting in front of. Is that super nerdy or is that exciting?
But it's awesome. It's part of my master's.
Yay. So, and then the last thing I'll share is Mote. Mote, you know, when everybody started talking about Mote a year ago, I was like, yeah, Mote, that's awesome. And then in the last few weeks, I've kind of been digging into it and I'm like, wow, like Mote is definitely an extension for the win. So you grab the Mote extension, of course, from the web store, but a couple different ideas that I've been playing with as I work with teachers, you know, during the back to school season is using the Mote extension to record audio directions to support students that are maybe struggling readers or ELL. So a couple examples to share with you. This is a spelling test, and the teacher actually used the Mote extension to record the words, and then the students can either write the word or use, if they have the Mote extension, they can, you know, record the word in response. So that's one way to use it. Another way to use it is audio support in lessons. So this is another example. The teacher created this is like a digital notebook that the students are going to work on. And so this is actually a class that I taught, and I taught about the Mote extension. So one of my favorite parts about Google Slides is using the gray space. So when you go to 8.5 by 11 page setup, you have all this space on the side to include instructional elements. So she used the Mote extension to provide audio support for students. So if they're not sure what to do, she's got, audio support here to tell them in this section, you're going to do this. So anytime they see the little icons, those are, clickable little audio support elements. So that was a whole lot of information and a really fast pace. So I would love to hear some of your ideas. So what are some cool things that you've been doing lately with Google Tools during back to school season? And this is the part where you turn your camera on and talk.
Okay, I'll share one. My students, well, let me bring it back to me. I struggle with reading, and I think this is not the first time that I've said that before. And I like to use the extension, what's it called? Immersive Reader.
Immersive Reader, yeah.
It uses Microsoft stuff, but it's still a Chrome extension. So I'm sharing that with my students. This is how I struggle. This is how I get over my struggles, and I'm starting to become a better reader, and I still need help sometimes. So whether if it's I cannot hear well and I need captions, or I cannot read well and I need somebody to read with me, it's one of the assistive tools that I really enjoy.
That's awesome. I love that you model that vulnerability with students, Carlos. Like, if we have all the answers and we're perfect, what hope do our kids have? So when we model, like, we need support too. Like, that's so beneficial for our kids,
Yeah, I do try to tell them that I'm not perfect. And if you see that I am doing something wrong, please let me know so that I can become a better person.
Mm-hmm. Julie, Amy, Tammy, what other awesome things have you guys been doing with back to school?
You're on mute.
Rookie mistake. It happens.
Yeah, right? Been doing that mistake all day, it seems. There's so many things, moving parts last week, this week, next week. So my district is really starting to move. We're getting ready to gear up to offer virtual option for our parents, whether TEA funds this or not. So part of that component is virtual PD. So like this week, I'm doing 3 live sessions and a recorded session on Google Classroom. Next week, I'm going to do a whole bunch of sessions live on Meet and then a recorded. So I'm just trying to cover some of the basics to help the people who are going to move into those environments. But I think what I really emphasized in Google Classroom today and yesterday and another session tomorrow is in the instructions part, teach that or write your instructions as if you're talking to your kids in a live classroom. Like last year, I saw a lot of instructions in the assignments part of Google Classroom where the teachers were just so vague. Here's the video. Do the work. It's due by whatever. And so I'm really trying to emphasize that in the assignment section, the instructions, talk to your kids as if you're in the classroom. The dialogue that you would have about how to complete things, what to do when they're done while they're waiting for others. Have those conversations in your instructions piece so that you're building relationships and the students know your expectations. So I guess I am just trying to help our teachers realize there's more to these tools to make it a true classroom experience like Mote does. If the teachers just take that approach. So that's what I'm trying to do with the Google Meet sessions and the classroom and stuff is think about what you would do in a face-to-face. Those conversations, do that in your electronic sessions as well. That's where I'm going with my PD and the tools.
I love that. I absolutely love that. It's such a shift, I think, for educators. Like we can't teach virtually like the same way we have to modify what we do when we're working in a virtual environment. I've been working with the Virtual Bridge Academy in my district and having these conversations with teachers about, in a virtual environment, physically, when kids are in a classroom, you have them under your thumb. Like if they're not doing their work or they're not getting it, like you're there to support. And when you work with them virtually, you really have to rethink, how do I provide support? How do I engage them? Because it looks very different.
So I'm trying to bridge that gap that our teachers are struggling with. Not so much the tech tool, but how to use it so that you are building relationships and things like that.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
Thank you for sharing. Amy, Tammy, anything you want to share?
I'll just Mote, back when I was listening to a Google Meet when they were first talking about putting Mote out there. So I was excited about it. And then I have used it in the classroom when we were virtual to respond to kids. The one that I used, I only had like a 30 seconds or something, but it was just a brief, this is what you need to do. You did a good job. I used it that way, but I love the way you talked about using it with spelling words and using your Google form to do that. I think that's an awesome idea. So, and I'm a librarian too, and trying to get out. We just got in new Chromebooks, so I'm trying to inventory and get out like 200 Chromebooks and know where they're at. So that's what I've been doing for the last 13 days, I guess.
Wow.
Yeah, I was working with my newsletter that I do every month for my campuses. And I was exploring the new Chromebook features today about the screen recording. And I'm like, wow, this is a game changer. The being able to record your screen. And there was another one that I was really stoked about. I can't remember because it was a really long day, but like even the Chromebooks there's great new updates coming to just the devices themselves. It's really exciting.
I haven't got to open them up and go into them yet. Probably somebody else at the tech level has, but I'll open those up and take a look.
It's a game changer. Like tech guys don't always see, and I'm sorry, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but tech guys don't always live in the world that we do, so they're like, here's how you work it. And I'm like, ooh, what can I do with this? Yeah.
You are so right. I mean, they're a different world. They just supply it. And then
and they're so smart. They're so smart. Like, don't get me wrong. They have so much knowledge to contribute, but we live in different worlds. So we see how we can use it. And they, see like the more like, the logistics, the know-how,
Yeah. I understand that completely because I've worked real close with that group of people too. So yeah,
they're very smart. I have lots of appreciation for them. Believe me.
Yeah. Coming from two different worlds.
Yes, exactly. Amy, anything you want to share?
Sorry, I'm listening and I'm enjoying the conversation. I have my husband just getting home and my kids and stuff, right? So that's why I haven't really, they keep passing by and stuff. It's loud. Well, we've been in school for a week with students, and my goal this past week was just to kind of like put together a staff hub. And so I was trying to think of the best way to organize it. And I had seen another person, I'm sure you guys have seen Stephanie Howell with Global GEG. She put out a video recently about creating that a staff hub, or just like a hub, an information hub, using a spreadsheet. And I really like that idea. In the past, we've always used, like a Google Drive folder, but sometimes you need to share links and they're not files or whatever. So that was neat. And I think it's been well received. It's nice having everything kind of like organized in one place, and it's still in a Google folder, whatever it can be, but a good amount of it is links and stuff like that. So that's what we've been working on. And I'm excited to see, what the future holds. We are going to have a virtual academy option, but we don't know too much information yet. From what I understand, it's going to be 1,000 students able to be in the virtual academy. I don't know if that will change, but that's what we've been told. So that'll be interesting to see. And it'll be like its own campus, so it won't necessarily involve me and my campus or anything like that. But I do find it interesting to see how they're going to roll it out, how they're going to manage it, and all of that stuff. And then I'm just here kind of like wondering what's going to happen, right, in the state. And, are we going to be able to maintain this in-person instruction, or, will things like need to close for a while across the state? I know our governor is, not supportive of that in any way, but the cases are totally the opposite of that. So I have 4 kids, 1 in kinder, 1 in 6th, 1 in 9th, and a college student. And my kindergartner already came home positive last week. So I'm out already taking care of him. And he's doing okay. Like, he's got minor symptoms. I mean, we're blessed in that it's very minor. But it's like, gosh, he's been in school a week and he's already coming back positive. And those are the kids that can't get vaccinated. You know what I mean? And, not to make anybody feel like scared or anything, but for him, he never had fever. Like, he just woke up Friday morning and was saying, like, my throat is really hurting. It hurts so much. I had never seen him like it, crying, and that it was hurting so much, right? So I took him in and he ended up being positive. He hasn't had any fever. So, we're doing fever screening checks at school, and here's my own child, no fever whatsoever, and he's positive. So it's like, scary.
Yeah, things are very fluid right now. Like, I don't know what's going to happen either. We just kind of, go to work every day and prepare the best we can, and who knows.
I was going to share, Amy, with my school district. I'm on our committee for for getting ready to go virtual, and we had a school board meeting this evening, 5:30, and it ended right before 6:30. That's why I didn't know if I was going to be able to make this or not. But we presented our rough draft plan for in case, the state agency is going to fund the 10%. And I had to create a Google form last week, and we sent it out to parents. We have 60% of our parents who are wishing we would do online. Mm-hmm. So at the board workshop tonight, our board said we will fund the additional kids, and that we are going to prioritize student safety. So
that's amazing.
I was just like, it's overwhelming for me because this is, instructional tech is my thing. Mm-hmm. So it's scary and it's intimidating, but it's like, oh, thank God for our families and our kids. Mm-hmm. So I've got some couple of busy weeks coming up, but I'm so excited.
That is exciting.
Yeah, it is exciting. And I have to, like, I'm on the other end of that too. I'm instructional technology, and this has not been a fun experience. It's been very challenging, very scary. But on the other side of that, it has pushed all teachers to learn and grow. Definitely. And that's a positive. Like, even a lot of teachers that were like, nope, I don't have time for that. They're like, coming back from COVID, we went back to in-person instruction this year, and they're like, I'm going to keep using the things that I learned because they were powerful. And I'm like, yes, woo woo. Like, it took that to get them over that hump, so amazing growth has come out of the experience. I just hope that they, keep that in their pocket, because I have seen a few teachers go back and like, we're done, put those iPads away, put those devices away. And it's like, these tools support learning. Like, this is how we, those are things that we need to continue to integrate no matter what happens. So
I've had a lot of teachers share with me that, oh my goodness, Miss Kelly, because we also got Screencastify then to help our teachers last year. I'm going to use all those recordings this year so that I can do, some grouping. While some kids are listening to my recordings from last year, I can be doing some face-to-face, and I'm just doing that little happy dance.
Whoop, whoop, blended learning. You go, girl.
So yeah, there's been some growth, and now they're seeing some connections.
That's awesome. I just read an article the other day about Screencastify is doing something to include questioning, like You can
Yes, I saw that too. It's going to be kind of like
Yeah.
Ed Puzzle and Screencastify merged together. Very cool.
Nice.
I haven't got to play with it, but that's on my list of things to check out.
And see, we're an Ed Puzzle district and a Nearpod district and Screencastify. You know, we've invested, but now Nearpod has gotten so great. Like the features of Ed Puzzle are now being built into Nearpod. You know, so they're all listening and looking at what each other are doing and bringing in, you know, the best of the others.
Mm-hmm. That's
their
good. We're demanding growth on the ed tech end too.
Yeah. So, Amy, I wish the best for you and your family as you continue to recover.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that.
Well, I am scared also. I have a kinder and second grader. So I can feel where you're coming from. Hopefully nothing happens, but no matter what, we're there. I have my students. My wife has her students. We're both working. And our daughters, unfortunately, have to go to school during this pandemic. But let's just hope all goes well.
Mm-hmm. Yes, definitely.
Not to end on a sad note, I'll add on an edtech note instead. Discussions between students. If you haven't tried the question feature on Google Classroom, you should really try that out. The way I do it is at the beginning, I have my students answer the question, and they cannot see each other's answers for about a day or a few more days, depending on the question. And I allowed them to edit their answer during that time. And then I switch the checkboxes from allowed to edit their own answers to they cannot edit their answers, and they can now see and respond everybody else's. So at that moment, whoever turns it in late, they still have to answer before they can they still have to answer the question before they can respond and see the other responses, but they will no longer be able to edit their answer once they submit.
That's awesome.
All right. So any other comments before we leave? We have about 3 minutes and we're going to end it at that.
It's just really great to get together with like-minded people, like share ideas, you know, connect. It's just fantastic.
Is this recorded? I mean, like, do you have links or anything?
Yes. There should be one on Facebook, one on Twitter. And if you know how to get to the YouTube one, there's also should be one on YouTube as well.
Okay. I'm using my iPhone, so I'm not seeing. There's a lot you can't see on this. So, but thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. And
thank you, Carlos, for your technical expertise. You're amazing.
I appreciate it. Have a wonderful day, everybody.
All right.
Google
Bye,
Educator
guys.
Group of South Texas.
Bye, guys.
GEG.SOUTX.US.
All right. That went well.
We'll have